Hello students. So in this video lecture we will be discussing about one of the instrumental method of analysis. It is related to flame photometry. So it is related to our module 5 concept. Already we have discussed about other three instrumental methods. In continuation of this, today we will be discussing about flame photometry. So this is related to the atomic spectroscopy technique, which is a good analytical technique for the analysis of compounds, mainly the elements or the metals. So flame photometry, before I start with the concept, the material that the topic that I have discussed in this video lecture is related to page number 4 to 7 of the study material that is provided to you. And atomic spectroscopy is one of the instrumental method for the determination of especially elements. So in this flame photometry, it is specifically used for the detection of few metals which is related to group 1 and group 2, alkali and alkali earth metals. So here this is related to atomic spectroscopy. The working principle of flame photometry, it is a spectroscopy technique which is categorized as atomic spectroscopy. So we have different branches of atomic spectroscopy. It is mainly divided into actually three types, but basically we discuss in detail about two types. That is common one is absorption and emission spectroscopy. And in addition to that, we have luminescence spectroscopy also, and it is one of the best tool in analytical chemistry. So here flame photometry or flame atomic emission spectrometry, it is also called as flame atomic emission spectrometry. So here the elements or the atoms is elements or metals are investigated in the form of their atoms, and this spectroscopy is mainly related to the emission pattern, whereas one more type we have atomic absorption spectroscopy, AAS. So there it works on the absorption spectra pattern. So here flame photometry, it is we are studying the emission pattern of the element. So it is also called as flame atomic emission spectroscopy, whereas atomic absorption spectroscopy is another technique, spectroscopy technique, where the spectrometry mainly deals with the importance of the absorption pattern by the elements. So this is the difference between flame photometry and atomic absorption spectroscopy. So discussing in detail about first one, that is flame photometry. So here it is as I mentioned, it is a branch of atomic spectroscopy, and mainly this method technique is used for the inorganic chemical analysis, that is specifically to determine the concentration of certain metal ions, maybe sodium, potassium, lithium, calcium, cesium, etc. So here the metal ions used in the spectrum are in the form of atoms. As I mentioned, it involves the detection or the study of the elements in the atomic form, so in the form of atoms. And main basis of this flame photometry is that here group 1 and group 2 metals are dissociated due to the energy supplied by the flame. Because of the energy from the flame, it undergoes excitation, followed by it return back to the ground state, and based on the emission pattern we will be studying the nature of the element. And mainly flame photometry method involves the use of flame photometer, which is the instrument used, and mainly this method is used to determine the concentration of few metal ions like sodium, potassium, lithium, calcium and cesium, whereas these elements specifically which belongs to group 1 and group 2 elements, that is alkali metals and alkali earth metals. So you might have observed the Bunsen burner test with the metals like sodium, potassium, lithium, calcium, where they gave different colors. So based on the colors we identify the element present in a given sample, that is the flame test that usually we carry out in the inorganic qualitative analysis. So if you use barium also, it gives lime green color flame, whereas sodium yellow colored flame, so lithium brick red colored flame. So we have identification of these elements based on the color observed when we test with the Bunsen burner. So same principle also applies in case of your flame photometry. So we are studying the emission pattern of the metal or the elements. So basically it involves the atomic emission method, and here the study of metals are usually done in the form of their atoms. So atomization also occurs during the process, and mainly the measurement of emitted radiation. So what happens when a flame source is used inside a flame photometer and the sample is subjected to the flame source, what happens? The thermal energy from the flame energy, atoms, whatever the solvent is there, that gets evaporated, and the compounds or the salt form of the elements are dissociated into its atomic form. So these atoms will absorb energy and they go to higher energy level. We call that process as excitation. So they are not stable at the excited state for longer period because of the low stability, and what they will lose the excess energy and return back to the ground state. So the excess energy that is emitted will return back to the ground state is recorded as a emission spectra pattern, and based on that we can study the concentration of the metal ion or the elements present in the sample. So this flame photometry can be used for qualitative analysis as well as for quantitative analysis of few of the metals or elements. So qualitative to identify which metal ion is present, and quantitatively how much, what is the concentration of that metal ion present in the solution. So both the cases we can use the flame photometry. So coming to the important part of this flame photometry, mainly it contains a source of flame. So usually a burner is used to supply the flame, and it is maintained at constant temperature with a constant form also, and we have a nebulizer and mixing chamber in the flame photometry, where as the name itself indicates, this nebulizer helps to transport the substance, the solution, the metal or elements in their solution form into the flame at a steady rate. So fine droplets are supplied through the nebulizer, and we have optical filter or optical system, and it actually consists of convex mirror, lens and filter. So the convex mirror here helps to transmit light emitted from atoms and focus the emission to the lens, and the reflection from the mirror pass through the slit and reaches the filter, and this will isolate the specific wavelength to be measured from that of other emissions. So it acts as a kind of color filter here, and also we have a photo detector, mainly to detect the emitted light. So photo detector will detect the emitted light and measures the intensity of radiation also that is emitted by the flame. So the emitted radiation is converted to electrical signal with the help of the photo detector, and these electrical signals are directly proportional to the intensity of the light emitted. So this is the four major components of flame photometer. So source of flame, nebulizer and mixing chamber, optical system and photo detector, where you can see the typical diagram which represent the flame photometry setup. So you can see here the sample is placed here. You have an atomizer here, and through the capillary, that is through the nebulizer, this sample, if you want to analyze a metal ion or element, its corresponding solution has to be prepared in the metal ion solution. Then it is injected through the nebulizer, where atomization process takes place, and then the sample is sent through the mixing chamber in order to make sure proper mixing of the elements in the elements, and as well as the flame or the fuel that we are going to supply here. So this is the mixing chamber, and we have the burner here. So once the atoms or the elements they interact with the flame, there will be thermal excitation of the elements to higher energy level, and once they reach the higher energy level, they are no longer stable at that stage. So immediately they will return back to the ground state by emitting the extra radiation they have absorbed. So the emitted radiation pattern is detected by this photodetector here. So this is converted into electronic signal, and finally it is displayed on the meter. So this is the instrumentation part of flame photometer. As you can see the diagram once again clearly, where you can see the sample solution, atomizer is there, mixing chamber followed by the burner, where flame source you can observe. So once there is interaction between the element and the flame, the possible emission pattern is observed, but it is detected by the photodetector, which in turn is converted into electronic signal. So this is about the instrumentation part of flame photometer. So next is about the theory behind the working of flame photometer. So mainly, as I mentioned, usually alkali and alkali earth metals, that is belonging to group 1 and group 2 category metals, are dissociated because due to the thermal energy that they obtain from the flame source. So here some of the atoms are excited to higher energy level where they are not stable. So here the metal in the compound form or in the solution form has to be desolvated, and it has to be converted into its atomic form, and these atoms are allowed to excite to higher energy level where they are not stable for longer duration. So this process we call it as excitation process, moving to higher energy level, and when they come to the return back to the ground state, the excess energy they are absorbed, that will they lose and they will come to the ground state, and this excess energy or the emitted radiation by the atom is studied by the emission spectra pattern, and if you observe, the wavelength of emitted light is specific for specific element. Like if you observe the potassium which gives violet color with the flame, normal Bunsen burner test, whereas the wavelength range is 766 nanometer, and simple sodium if you consider, the wavelength range is 589 nanometer, and when you go for the direct Bunsen burner test, you can observe the yellow color in case of sodium. So the wavelength of emitted light is specific for specific element. And during the flame photometry analysis, the following process takes place. First stage is the solvent evaporates, leaving behind the solid residue. As you have seen, you have a sample holder where it is connected through the capillary of the nebulizer. So as you supply the sample in a steady rate near the flame, there will be atomization process that takes place, because as I mentioned here, this method involves the study of the elements in the atomic level, so atomic state. So solvent evaporates in the first step and it becomes solid residue, and the solid residue, there will be complete vaporization of this solid coupled with the, and with residue, and this dissociation, they undergo dissociation into constituent atoms. So first step is solvent evaporation or desolvation, second step is dissociation, and third step is excitation process, where some of the gaseous atoms get excited, from where they get the energy because of the energy supplied from the flame. So thermal excitation process takes place, and these excited atoms, when they go to the higher energy level, they are not stable for longer period, so they quickly re-emit the photons, that energy they have absorbed, they quickly re-emit the photons and return to the lower energy state. So mainly this flame photometry involves the measurement of emitted radiation. So when the atoms, they return back from excited state to lower ground state energy state, during that time the excess energy is emitted. So we are studying the amount of emitted radiation. Based on that, because specific element will emit specific range of wavelength light, so based on that pattern we can identify which element is present in the solution, as well as based on the intensity of the emitted radiation we can identify the concentration of the metal or the element present in the solution. So this is about the different process involved during the flame photometry analysis. First is solvent evaporation, followed by formation of atoms, and these gaseous atoms absorb energy and excited, and these excited atoms will revert back to the ground state, and study of the emission pattern by the element during this process. So as you can see, this is important. Emitted light intensity from the flame is always directly proportional to the concentration of the species being injected or aspirated. Next, the major steps, which is related to the theory part or the different steps involved in the flame photometry. Mainly the working condition, first step is the desolvation process, where solvent is completely evaporated and only solid particles are obtained. And once these solid particles are obtained, they are vaporized, and atomization process is carried out, where these atoms or ions are produced again, and the ions that is formed, or the atomic gaseous elements that is formed, they absorb the energy. So when they interact with the flame, they absorb the energy from the flame, so they undergo thermal excitation and reaches to higher energy level. So these excited atoms revert back to ground state. Once they reach the higher energy level, they are no longer stable there for longer period, so they revert back to the ground state by emitting the excess light energy that they have absorbed. So this process we call it as emission process. So based on the amount of light radiation emitted, as well as based on the nature of the light radiation emitted, we can find out the nature of the element as well as the concentration of the element present. So mainly desolvation, vaporization followed by atomization, excitation and emission process. These are the main four processes involved during the flame photometry analysis. As you can see, chart block diagram is represented here, where the sample is sprayed through from the nebulizer, and it is sprayed, and first step, what happens inside the atomization, there will be desolvation followed by solidification of the residue, and they are dissociated into gaseous molecule. Atomic form is formed. So here also volatilization occurs, and finally the molecules formed dissociate to atoms and ionization takes place, and these atomic ions will go to excited state. So once they go to excited state, there is possibility the atomic ions may go to excited state, as well as the dissociated ions or molecules, as well as the atoms. So after they reach the higher energy level, they will return back to the ground state with the emission of excess amount of energy. So that will give you the emission light. So we will be studying the nature of the emitted radiation in case of flame photometry to identify the nature and concentration of the elements present. So mainly what is atomization? It is actually the reduction of metal ions in the solvent. So whatever the metal ions we are studying, that is not directly injected as a metal. So always the solvent, metal ion solvent is prepared and then it is passed through the nebulizer, where next it is evaporated, and during the atomization process mainly the metal ions in the solvent is reduced to metal atoms. So Na plus is reduced to Ne. So as you can see, this is a calibration curve where we need to prepare different concentration of standards and the concentration of the unknown or the sample that is given to you. Maybe you have to find out the concentration of potassium, lithium or sodium in terms of ppm. Then you need to follow this calibration curve, plot this calibration curve. Before that we need to record the emission intensity of other solution of known concentration, that is different standard solutions has to be prepared first, then its emission intensity is recorded and a calibration curve is plotted starting from the origin. Then the emission intensity corresponding to the unknown concentration of the solution, so that from that value easily we can identify the concentration of the unknown sample or concentration of the known sample also in the given solution. So this is the main application of flame photometry. So as you can see, the instrument that we use in the laboratory, where you can see here the inlet option here, the sample is placed in the form of its metal ion solution, and how the capillary is inserted through the nebulizer, sample is taken near the flame, and here inside the flame photometer we have the flame source here, and next during the interaction with the flame there will be excitation followed by emission process that takes place, and this emission intensity is displayed based on the emission pattern by different elements. And the major application, mainly it is used for quantitative as well as qualitative applications of elements, various elements, and mainly it is related to group 1 and group 2 elements of the periodic table, and mainly it helps to detect the presence of particular metal in the sample also, as well as in the agricultural field fertilizer requirement or the soil quality is analyzed by flame test analysis of the soil, and as it is used in clinical field also, where the sodium, the body fluid, sodium plus and K plus ions, and even in the muscle the concentration can be determined by diluting the blood serum. So the concentration of body fluid also can be determined or analyzed, and even in the analysis of juice, fruit juice, preserved juices or soft drinks or even alcoholic contents can also be analyzed by using flame photometry. So you need a flame source here, burner, and also we have a nebulizer where to supply the sample in a fine droplets at steady rate, followed by we have a atomizer where atomization process takes place, where the compound is dissociated into its atomic form, and from the atomizer then when there is interaction in the flame, the atoms get excited to higher energy state and again they return back to the ground state with the emission of certain amount of radiation. So we will be studying the emission pattern of the solution or the analyte, and based on that we can analyze the compound qualitatively as well as quantitatively. So this is about flame photometry, a atomic emission spectroscopy method widely used for the detection of group 1 and group 2 elements.